Listen up, because more and more of us are. 1 in 3 in the US now tuning into podcasts every month, say researchers.
I think that we are reaching an inflection point.
Perhaps that's why the industry is getting pumped with cash. Spotify leading the way, up to $500 million just spent on leading podcast producers. This streaming music company now looking beyond the music.
Spotify published a blog saying we're not only a music company, we're now an audio company.
Buoyed on by the numbers, maybe. Listener figures expected to grow dramatically over the coming years, up from 287 million in 2016 to 1.85 billion in 2023. Google launching its own service last year, and the BBC now making it a major focus of its offerings too. The thing is, the podcast is not some kind of new invention. It's actually been around for the best part of 15 years. In fact, the name podcast comes from the word iPod, and you don't need me to tell you what one of those is. But even though the podcast has been around for years, it seems 2019 is its time.
I think a podcast gives you sort of a raw, oftentimes unfiltered access to information.
Perhaps that's why, in a world of divided politics and all those allegations of
fake news,
it is a way of tuning out the noise and hearing what it is you want to hear.
I think people gravitate toward that sort of intimate experience. It's like a book. Like, you can pick out any one that pertains to you. It's not like there's a couple of news channels out there and you can get your information that way. And so it's a really kind of like a choose your own adventure.
The big challenge for the industry is, how do you make money from podcasts? See, by nature, these things can be made by anybody. All you need is a microphone, a pair of headphones, and an internet connection, and you're a publisher. You are online. And that's typically not the kind of stuff that people are going to want to pay for.
how is the money made? Because podcasts are free, right?
Yes, the vast majority comes from advertising. That for us, that's over 80% of our revenue. But there's a growing revenue model by us and other companies that comes from turning our shows into televisions.
Look.
And those are shows like Homecoming, Julia Roberts' Amazon series, which came from a podcast, and Dirty John, more than 50 million downloads, accompanied by a TV show.
I'm John.
Big producers like Wondery here in Los Angeles, pumping out podcast hit after podcast hit in partnership with TV studios.
If you think about television, for decades, there was only free television. Then cable television came into existence. Same with digital news. Most people thought that digital news were supposed to be free until organizations like New York Times, Wall Street Journal started to implement paywalls. The same thing, I think, will happen with podcasting.
And so this medium has its day, its play. All eyes and ears on the podcast as it finally comes of age. Lavelle, CGTN, Los Angeles.